back here for part 2 of Junie B. first grader Shipwrecked. So let's see what happens. Hopefully nobody else in this book gets sick, and hopefully they put on a really good play. Only one way to find out is to jump in. So here we go. Chapter 5, The Winners. Monday morning. Dear first grade journal, 18 facts. I got 18 facts. I can't wait to choose my part in the play. This is going to be the time of my life, I tell you. From Junie B., first grader. P.S. 2 more kids are sick from school today, plus Lenny just went to the nurse. P.S. again, Sheldon is wearing sandwich bags on his hands today. It is to keep germs off, I believe. Just then, Mr. Scary finished taking attendance, and he said to please put our journals away. As you can see, we're missing 3 more classmates today, he said, kind of frustrated. It's going to be hard to do a play with so many people absent, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that our classmates will be back in time to participate. Just then, we heard a rustly sound. Sheldon was crossing his fingers inside his sandwich bags. After he was done, he waved to Mr. Scary, very pleasant. Mr. Scary looked at him for a real long time. Then he sighed, and he waved back. Finally, he stood up and walked to the board. Boys and girls, I thought it would be fun to base our play on the facts you gathered for homework, he said. He picked up the chalk. If you have a fact you'd like to share, raise your hand and I'll write it on the board. Then, when we've listed all our facts, we can choose our play parts, he said. Now, who would like to go first? Jose shot his hand in the air speedy fast. I would, I have a poem, he said. Then he jumped right up and started to read. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He had 3 ships and left from Spain. He sailed through sunshine, wind, and rain. Mr. Scary smiled. Nice, Jose. That's a great poem you found. Let's see how many facts you can find there. He wrote them down. 1, Columbus was a sailor. 2, he had 3 ships. 3, he sailed from Spain. 4, the year was 1492. Just then, Sheldon started waving his plastic hands very urgent. I know the names of the ships. I know the names of the ships, he called out. They're the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Excellent job, Sheldon, Mr. Scary said. He printed the names on the board. Nina, Pinta, Santa Maria. Then Mr. Scary started to call out someone else, but Sheldon stood up and read more from his paper. Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. He landed on some islands near America, he read. Mr. Scary added that fact to the list. Sailed the Atlantic Ocean, arrived in islands near America. Okay, well, thank you again, Sheldon, he said. Now I think we should let someone else have it, Sheldon interrupted. My Uncle Vern sailed to an island once, he said. He came back with a woman named Bunny. Sheldon kept on standing there. Aunt Bunny has tattoos, he said. After that, Mr. Scary hurried Sheldon to Sheldon's desk, and he pulled him back in his chair. May went next. My fact is about the Mayflower, she said. The Mayflower is the ship that brought the Pilgrims to America. So I'm going to be the Mayflower in our Columbus play, because both of our names start with May. Mr. Scary looked real curious at her. Yes, but the Mayflower didn't sail to America until over 100 years after Columbus did. I know it, she said, but both of our names start with May. Don't you get it? Yes, May. I get it, Mr. Scary said, but we can't change history here. So I'm afraid the Mayflower won't be sailing in our Columbus play. May sat down in a real huff. Lucille stood right up. My fact is about the Richie Queen of Spain, she said. The Richie Queen of Spain was named Isabella, and she gave Chris the money for the trip. So I am going to be Richie Queen Isabella in the play, because if there's one thing I know, it's how to be rich. Jose raised his hand. You shouldn't call him Chris, Lucille. In Spain, they call him Cristobal Colon. Lucille made squinty eyes at him. Cristobal, whatever. She said, a queen can call you whatever she wants to. She fluffed her hair and sat down. That's when I springed up and I waved my paper around. 18 facts, Mr. Scary. I got 18 facts. So listen to this, people. The Nina was the smallest ship, and the Pinta was the fastest ship, and the Santa Maria was a big old tub. Mr. Scary winked at me. Those are outstanding ship facts, Junie B., he said. Great job. He printed them on the board, and guess what? After that, Shirley told him even more ship facts. So that's how the whole rest of the morning kept going. Room 1 kept on telling him facts, and Mr. Scary kept on writing them down. until finally we told him every single fact in the book. Then that's when the funnest part of it all happened, because Mr. Scary walked around the room and he counted how many facts each of us had in our papers. And wait till you hear this. He said, we have a tie, because me and my friend Jose both had 18 facts. We jumped up out of our seats and gave each other a high five. Then I skipped around my desk very joyful. Also, I skipped the pencil sharpener and back. Mr. Scary came back and shook our hands. He said we would choose our play parts when we come back from lunch, and so meanwhile we should be thinking about what parts we want. Yeah, look, I already know what part I want, I said, real thrilled, and it is going to be the bestest part I can think of. Only I'm going to keep it a secret till after lunch, so nobody asks me, and I mean it. After that, I pretended to lock my lips with a make-believe key. Herb turns to me. You mean you're not even going to tell me? He said, kind of disappointed. I got out my key and unlocked my lips. Okay. Except for I will just tell Herb, and that's all, I said. I locked my lips again. Jose frowned at me. I locked my lips one more time. Plus, also, I will tell Jose, but that is my final offer, and I mean it, people. Just then, Shirley did a big huffy. Okay, fine, and Shirley, I said. That's when Sheldon raised his hand and pointed to himself. Then all the other children pointed to their selves, too. And so that day at lunch, I whispered my secret to everyone in room 1. But that was all. Chapter 6, Teamwork. After we got back from recess, Mr. Scary went back to the board. Okay, everyone, it's time for the big event, he said. We're going to begin choosing our play parts now. We'll start with Junie B and Jose. Are you two ready to go? Ready, hollered Jose. Ready, I hollered back. And guess what else, Mr. Scary? I'm even going to let Jose go first, because that will be very polite of me. Plus, Jose already knows what I want. Okay, edit. 1, 2, 3. Ready, hollered Jose. Ready, I hollered back. And guess what else, Mr. Scary? I'm even going to let Jose go first, because that will be very polite of me. Plus, Jose already told me he wants to be Columbus, and I don't. So being polite will work out beautifully this time. I pointed at Jose. Okay, go, I said. Jose looked annoyed at me. But you already told him, Junie B. I want to be Columbus. I clapped my hands, real delighted. I knew it, I said. I knew being polite would work good this time, on account that I want to be the Pinta, because the Pinta was the fastest ship. And the fastest ship is the winter ship, and that winter ship is a star ship. I skipped to the pencil sharpener and back again. Mr. Scary said, please stop doing that. Being the Pinta is fine, Junie B, he said, but you do understand that our ships will not be racing, right? All 3 of our ships will be arriving together. I did a little frown. Yeah, only that's not how I actually had it pictured in my head, because a race will be more exciting, I think. And so maybe I will just arrive a little bit first. Like an inch or a foot or half an hour possibly. Mrs. Scary shook his head no. This play is not about stars or winners, it's about teamwork, he said. You are more than welcome to just be the Pinta, Junie B, but you can't arrive before the other ships. Got it? I did a big sigh. Got it, I said, kind of glum. Mrs. Scary wrote my name next to Pinta. Then he called on the other children to choose their play parts too. Lucille chose Richie Queen Isabella, and Camille and Chenille chose the Atlantic Ocean. Then my bestest friend Herbert chose to be land. And that's the most importantest role of all, almost, because without land, you can't actually land, probably. And Herb, lots of other children picked their parts too after he did. Then finally, it was May's turn. May had to go last because all of her facts were about the dumb Mayflower and not about Columbus. She stood up very grouchy. All the good roles are already taken, so I guess I'll have to be the tubby old Santa Maria, she grumped. Mr. Scary wrote her name on the board. The Santa Maria is an excellent choice, May, he said. The Santa Maria was the biggest ship, and it carried Columbus, you know. May sat up a little straighter. It did, she said. It really did? It carried Columbus? Nobody told me that before. She reached over and tapped on me. I bet you didn't know that either. Did you, Junie B? Huh? How did you, Junie Jones? If you knew that, I bet you'd be the Santa Maria. I rolled my eyes at her. Of course I knew that, you silly-headed May. The entire world probably knew that, except for you, probably. May looked a little disappointed. She turned her head back around. I waited for a second to make sure she wasn't looking. Then I slumped down in my chair and tapped my fingers, very annoyed. Because guess what? I didn't know that. Chapter 7, Shipbuilding. Friday morning. Dear First Grade Journal, we have been working on our play for the whole entire week. We already wrote some of our words, and ha! I am going to say land, land. We landed on land. Only bad news on account of Herbert is land. And today, my bestest friend Herbert got sick with the virus. So now what am I supposed to do? Just sail around and around the whole livelong day? Without land, explorers are nothing. From Junie B., first grader. Just then, the bell rang for school to start. So I quick put away my journal and I got ready to work on the play some more. Because hooray, hooray, today we were making our costumes. Mr. Scary got out costume supplies from boxes he brought from home. He gave me and May cardboard to make our ships, plus although he gave us ship patterns. He gave Sheldon a ship pattern too, because guess what? Sheldon was going to be the Nina. He said he didn't even care that the Nina was the smallest ship on account of that he liked the little squiggle over the N. The little squiggle makes Nina look special, he said. It looks like a little bird. Mr. Scary smiled at that comment. Then he told us how to tape the ship pieces together. Plus, he showed us how to make banners and sails. I'm going to color my ship banner red, because red is my favorite color, I said. May looked down her nose at me. I'm going to color my ship banner gold, she said, because gold means you're the golden best, and the Santa Maria had to be the best, or else why would Columbus choose it? I tapped on my chin, very thinking. Then I did a little grin. Maybe he liked big old tubs, I said. After that, I laughed and laughed at my own joke. I see nothing wrong with that. Pretty soon, Mr. Scary went to help Lucille. She was not working on her costume. My Richie Nana is going to hire a sewing lady to make me a costume, she said. Plus, it's also going to buy me a crown of fake jewels. Mr. Scary said no. We're all making our costumes in class, Lucille. It's part of the project. After that, he got an encyclopedia from the shelf, and he found a picture of Queen Isabella. Lucille did a loud screech. Ew, she's not even cute, she said. And what is that ugly hat thing on her head? Look, it has ear flaps. Sheldon ran over to see the ugly hat thing. Maybe she just got back from snowboarding, he said. Lucille started to cry a lot. Mr. Scary said to please calm down. Then he brought her a fake velvet towel so she could use for a robe. Then he gave her gold glitter to make a paper crown. Lucille stopped crying. Glitter? She said a little perkier. I get to use glitter? After that, she got right back to work on her golden crown. A little glitter can turn your whole day around, I guess. At the end of the afternoon, our costumes were almost done. Mrs. Scary let us go to the front of the room and show the other children what we made. And what do you know? Lucille's crown turned out to be very beautiful. She looked like a real alive queen in that thing. Plus, also, I liked Camille and Chenille's ocean costume. They cut roly-poly waves at the top of a long roll of blue paper. Then, when they held it near the floor, it looked like the real ocean, sort of. Me and Sheldon and May went last. We sailed to the front of our room in our ship costumes, and we introduced ourselves. I am the Pinta. I am the fastest ship, I told them. And I am the Santa Maria. I am the biggest ship, said May. And I am the Nina. I have a little bird on my end, said Sheldon. Then all the children laughed and clapped, and me and Sheldon and May sailed back to our seats. Only too bad for me, on account of May sailed way too speedy, and she got to her desk before I did. She looked very smuggy at me. What took you so long? She said. Are you that pokey little Pinta? Then she laughed, and she laughed at her own joke. That is not good taste. Okay, so that's part 2 done. We've only got one more part left, so please make sure you tune in to see how this play ends up going, right? Hopefully Herbert feels better and all the other classmates feel better so they can also participate. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, talk about it in the comments. We'll see you guys soon. Bye!